Telling your story is an inclusive view of the people around us who share the same dreams and goals but face different challenges moving forward. We hope you come away from each show inspired. Keep watching for this episode of Telling Your Story with Terrel and Nick coming up next. And welcome to Telling Your Story with Terrel and Nick. We're so glad you tuned in to watch. I'm Nick.
And I'm Terrel.
And we are your co-hosts. We have a wonderful guest here today. She's an activist, a community leader, a wife, a mother, a flute player, and so much more.
Jen from Founding Community Resource is here today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so
welcome.
much, Jen. We're so excited that you're here to share your story and the UCR story for all of our viewers out there. Are you excited to hear all about UCR?
Oh yes, that's true. I'm excited to hear a lot about our UCR. Did I say it right?
You said it right.
All right.
Yeah, we're very busy. There's a lot to talk about.
But Jen, let's talk about you first. Can you share a little bit with Terrel and I? Where did your story begin?
Well, my story in the special needs community started when we adopted our son, who is now 15. And we had no idea, you know, when you adopt, sometimes you have no idea what you're going to get. Yeah. And he is amazing, and he has autism. And I was that clueless mom that knew nothing about autism. I didn't babysit. I was the youngest in my family. I didn't have a lot of experience with babies, so I just thought he was hyper. He had energy, right?
Yeah,
you know?
energy,
and energy
a
could
lot
never stop. And I didn't really get what was going on, but at like 1.5, when he was jogging through the neighborhood like a mile at 1.5-year-old, I was like, huh, okay, this is weird.
Oh, wow.
So then I just started, kind of asking doctors and kind of trying to figure stuff out, because I had never really been exposed to anybody with autism before.
Right.
And I had no idea what to expect, not knowing any, biological history.
Sure.
So like at about 2.5 years old, he was diagnosed when we put him into a 2-year-old pre-K program.
Right.
And that was a big door, a big opening for us, because I just had to learn how to parent. And I didn't even know to begin with,
right,
Right,
sure.
So the only way I know is this way, right?
Right.
And so I just started learning, and I was teaching music at the time. That is kind of my second life. And so I became a substitute teacher in special ed, where my son went to school. So the teachers there were wonderful. They came to our house, they helped us out, and then I started subbing in their classroom so I could learn all of that. And then I became an ABA tech to try and figure out, well, maybe this could help us in some way or help others. So then I did that for a couple of years, where I was going into homes of real little kids and doing ABA tech training for 4 hours at a time.
So
and
you did that in
I did
your
that
first
too.
time?
Yeah, and that's it's very exhausting, and there's a lot of burnout involved. And then we entered the school system, and things get dicey, trying to meet the needs of guys that learn differently.
Right,
so then we had to hire an advocate at one point to try and get our placement that was appropriate, and then they hired me. So then I started working for an advocate, and I'm like, well, this is weird, So I was kind of learning the back door, the school way and the school's perspective, as well as the teacher's perspective, and what families are going to want and need, right? And then this job, I didn't even know what UCR was, and I was literally on my computer one night, and I got a message from a friend of mine at the Archdiocese who said, I have a job for you. And I said, I have 3 jobs.
You do not need 4.
No, 4.
You know, that would make 4.
Yeah, that make it 4.
I'm like, I don't need another job. But they're like, you're going to be perfect for this. This is what it is. And then I read it and I said, it says executive director. That's not my thing.
No can do.
I am not that. But now look
good
at me,
job.
you know. So I've been here now with UCR for 3 years. My anniversary is in December, so I just passed 3 years. And I haven't started working yet. It hasn't felt like work. So this is just, I'm going to stay not working and doing,
Wow.
doing this
I
for a
love
while.
that.
That
You
sounds
kind of have a
good.
job that you
Yeah.
love. It's kind of like not working.
Yeah,
My
not
job's kind of like
working.
not working. We
Yeah.
totally get that.
Yeah,
And
we
when
did.
it becomes work, and when you dread it, then you need a different job.
Yeah.
So I
yeah,
am,
and then you had to look
Then you
for
look,
another,
right.
another
so
job.
I'm
yeah.
still not working.
All right.
But I'm very busy for not working.
That is wonderful. I know. That's a wonderful, wonderful story. Can you share a little bit with us, how did UCR come about?
Well, I wasn't there for the very beginning. The first year started well, actually the first few years started without me, but it was a small group of parents like me that wanted things for their young people to do. And it came out of a couple Catholic churches where there were some families that wanted to be in the programs and accepted, and you know, those kids are 30s now, you know, so it was a while ago. And they just started to kind of do things together. You know the group, and they're all friends of yours.
Right.
And so they started doing a group, and then there was a little bit of backing, and we're actually a sister organization from Potomac Community Resources. Okay. So the Cardinal, at the time that Potomac, you know, they're 20 years old now, and they're doing great things. And the Cardinal basically said, we want this model, the community resource model, replicated throughout the state. So now there's actually 5 of us. There are 5 community resource models.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That
So,
was good.
wonderful.
We're the second group. UCR is
Okay.
the second, and we're, you know, Upper Montgomery, obviously.
Right.
But then there's also a Prince George's County, and there's a Hispanic community resource that does the state. You know, they're trying to meet a lot of needs, you know, and there's a huge population in the Hispanic community that needs a lot of help.
Yes,
so
that's
we're
true.
trying to blend with them and bring some of their folks to our activities. And there's also a Southern Maryland CR, and they're out on the beautiful waterfront, you know, Southern Maryland. So yeah, we're all very busy, but we're all very different, because my population in Gaithersburg, Germantown, Upper Montgomery is very different than the population in Potomac.
Right.
So we have a lot of different needs. We all do our own thing, but started with the community resource model, because we just have to meet our people where they are.
That's fabulous.
That is
And
good.
we're going to learn so much more about that.
Okay.
We're going to be right back and continue our conversation with Jen Lynn, the Executive Director of Up County Community Resources, or UCR, after these messages.
Donate goods in response to an international disaster, it's expensive.
They have to cross the sea, pass through customs, be inspected, sorted, then finally delivered.
And often they arrive too late to help, making your good intentions feel a little empty.
There is a better way.
Cash donations are fast, simple, and allow professional relief workers to purchase supplies close at hand.
Cash is best. Learn more at CIDI.org.
It's our duty to serve veterans and military families who serve their country in the most difficult ways imaginable. Together, we can say thank you in so many ways. Small acts of kindness mean more than anything. With our support, veterans and military families can face even the most difficult challenges. Let's honor their service with ours.
Welcome back. Terrel and I are learning so much about Jen Lynn, the Executive Director of Up County Community Resources, a fabulous organization here in Montgomery County and also throughout the state. So we would love to know, Terrel and I are really interested, Jen, can you talk about, I know you have so many wonderful programs, you serve so many people. Can you share a little bit about your programs?
Sure. We do have a lot of programs, and part of that is because our population is so different. You know, we cover every disability, right? So every population has different needs. So first and foremost, we have the therapeutic programming during the week, on, excuse me, on Wednesdays for folks that are a little bit more impacted, that there's some friends in wheelchairs in that class, and some other friends that just need a nice quiet program, right? So they come, there's therapeutic art and therapeutic music on the Wednesday. And then we have the next group, you know, where they need to learn a little bit of job skills and try and get exposed to some new experiences and novel ideas. And that group happens with our weekend enrichment program. And right now it's one Sunday a month. And that was designed to be a respite program for parents to have a break, because, you know, it's exhausting.
Sure.
And especially when the kids are adult age, you know, they're tiring.
This throw me under the bus. This throw me under the bus.
So when we have everyone out, we partner with Oasis Farms in Gaithersburg. So when everyone is out with us, we have 11 or 12 folks that come out, and we teach job skills, and we practice job skills and new ideas. So we have woodworking, and we have fitness, where we work with Jackie, your friend from Zam Dance.
Right.
And we have Art Stream come out to practice communication, because if we're going to hopefully have a job one day, we need to look and shake hands and do this, right? So we work on those, and then we work in the farm. And one thing that makes me super happy is that last year, in our first year of the program running, once a month, we had, with the help of you know, a couple of our adults, that, like a board member or two, that went out and harvested, we were able to donate 400 pounds of food.
Wow.
Fresh vegetables.
Wow.
That all of our folks
that
planted.
Good.
And then so we planted them all, and we watered, and we watched, and we waited, and then we harvested. And for some of our guys, that's the first time they've ever pulled a cucumber off of a thing and took a bite.
Wow.
Or pulled a carrot out of the ground. You know, so really fun. So we were able to donate all that to Nourish Now, and they were able to feed a whole bunch of families.
That's great.
Wow, that's good.
So that program, you know, it's all kind of tiered, you know. And then for some folks that need a little bit more socialization in the community, we have Monday Night Jam, which is our rock band, and the band is named Neurodiversity. And it is just so super fun, and it is 9 guys right now that meet with a couple professional rock band guys that used to be on the road touring, and they rehearse. And they rehearse 2 Mondays. It's Monday Night Jam, like 13, so the first and third Monday nights.
Okay.
And they rehearse in Rockville, and they have a nice repertoire of about 7 or 8 songs. Wow. And we're really close to doing another concert. We did one, and it was wild. It was wild. It was very exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, so then, but that's an opportunity that any musician would have, right?
Absolutely.
But not necessarily our musicians. And some of our guys came, we have a couple that came, had no musical experience at all. And now they're our drummers. And now they're doing percussion and singing. Who knew that they,
wow.
You know, it's great.
That sounds good.
Great.
Yeah,
it
it is.
I like that.
It's really fun. And then because of the need for the socialization and getting out of the house and, you know, making friends, we have a little bit more independent program, Guys Night Out and Girls on the Town. And those are facilitated with just one person who they happen to be, you know, a behaviorist and a special educator. So they just go out, like next Tuesday, all the girls are going to Sky Zone to go jumping on all the trampolines for fun, and then they go out to eat. And like the big idea for UCR is to get our folks into the population, because the more they see us, the more we're not afraid. No one's afraid, right? And it'll just become normal. We're all normal in our own. Yeah.
And it becomes a community.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's really fun. And then we're launching just one more weekend enrichment program with Madison Field. And that's going to be Practice Life, which is for those folks that live at home and are just ready to move out of the house, but they might not read the label on the sour cream, or they might leave the oven on, or
finances, right?
Yeah, managing. So that's also,
money.
so we're going to do a lot of domestic kind of things and yard work and what people do on Sundays, laundry, you know, stuff like that, just to live. And
I have
practice.
to do laundry.
Do you do laundry on Sunday?
Sometimes, most of the time on Monday, but
on Monday,
Sunday.
that works too.
Monday works.
You still have
My
to know how.
Thursday.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an important life skill, and these are essential skills that your students are learning.
Yeah, and when they're growing up and in school, we're working on more of just the social appropriateness. You know, you don't, you know, brush your hair in a restaurant. You know, you sit at a table. You do. So they don't have time to really always learn
the application.
How we do stuff as grown-ups. You know, because you're so focused on getting every single thing accomplished, right?
Yeah, done.
Right, and then you know about our social programs, right?
Yes.
Yes,
I have.
Miss Sylvia is amazing, and she's one of our board members and a volunteer. And she has a daughter, Megan, right? Self-advocate also.
Yeah,
and Megan's also our board member.
So
and
Megan do all that?
yeah, Sylvia, they're the social coordinators, and they do one big program a month, and it's all volunteer. She's amazing, but I like to break the fire
Megan
code.
is the volunteer or the parent or
Megan
the mom?
is volunteer too. Both of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they're kind of a pair set. You know, they
Wow.
come together.
Yeah, they come together. They come
are-
and they lead together.
Yes.
Yeah.
They do.
And these are really unique programs too, Jen, because they have an opportunity, like you were saying, to be really out in the community,
Yes.
going to plays, going
Yes.
out to dinner, going to restaurants, going as a group, talking, engaging.
Right.
There's so many things that are happening with doing these large group, fun social field trips. I mean, social trips.
There's so many things to learn.
Yeah.
Even some of our friends that come to like the guys' night out, and like it's hard to sometimes limit, right? Because if someone is maybe nonverbal but very functional and independent in the community, look at what he could learn from a Terrel.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So they need to see this appropriate behavior modeled, and they need to see it from a peer. So then it empowers our peer guys, right? And then our volunteers that come, you know, it's
just
really
win-win right
it
across
is.
the board.
Oh, there's so many layers
Yeah.
of win.
Totally.
Right, totally, yes.
Yeah.
What can we do in the community for UCR? What are some of the things that UCR, as a nonprofit here in Montgomery County, would be looking for? Board members? What is something that the community can do?
Well, I mean, primarily, you know, just support.
Yeah.
Really, when we're in the community, you know, when we come out and we take over a whole restaurant, which we do.
That's
There are some of our favorite restaurants. But like even, and I guess it's just as a whole, I mean, of course everybody says you need money. Yeah, you need money to run programs, right?
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
it's really just us being out there and part of the community and not getting the funny looks and the comments. And that's the piece that hurts my heart when that happens. We have to be out, and everybody has their own challenges.
Right.
Some are visible, some are invisible.
Right, absolutely.
You all see my hair. That's my challenge. You know, so it's really just be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we totally get
Yeah,
that.
we got it.
Yeah.
No,
already.
absolutely.
Yep. Yes. Nicolette is a mom. She is understanding about that. I'm not a dad yet, but I'm about to be
planning
a
ahead.
dad
Okay.
soon. But I'm not there yet, so it's happy for me.
You're still working on laundry.
Yeah, laundry.
On Monday.
On Monday. That's true.
Now, Jen, Terrel and Terrel wanted to talk to you about you share a love of performing as well. Did you want to ask her about that?
Yeah, sure. You are a flute player, and you are a performer like me. And tell me something. Is it different than acting, than playing
that's a
your
great
flute,
question.
or what?
Well, it's acting when I mess up and have to pretend.
Oh, no.
Improv.
Right
You
there.
hear that, you know, when I have to pretend like nothing happens, which is very hard because I have very expressive eyebrows, and I do a lot of this when I'm playing if I hear
Right.
something. So, and eye rolls, and my conductor knows that. So, but it is a little bit of acting, and I do still get nervous. You don't ever get nervous. You're a pro.
I'm not nervous no more. I used to be
You used to be?
nervous,
Well,
but-
I used to be really, really nervous, and now
Right.
I'm just a little nervous. But you know what happens when flute players are nervous?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you
Oh,
can't play.
That's
Oh,
It's a
yeah,
mental problem.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That is mean. That is
It's
that
a
will
bad
hurt
problem.
your
Yes.
hurt your
So
music.
you have to work really hard at controlling all of this all the time, and for me, I have to kind of get in my head, you know, because there's performance anxiety, you know, being up in front of audiences, and that's just wasn't my first choice. But I guess being a flute player, and then when I have to play piccolo, which everybody hears every single note, everybody, that one really messes me
So
up.
how do you start a flute player? Your mom or yourself, or you just did it
you know what?
yourself?
Great
I
question.
started when I was in the end of 4th grade. a long time ago.
Wow, and you just fell in love
Wow.
Yeah, I did love it. And then I was actually, like, my second career, right? I did TV first, and then my next career, I actually was teaching flute at home when Jake was a baby, because my basement is a studio. So I could teach in the basement, and we had 2 levels of soundproofing, so he couldn't hear all the way upstairs. So it's just a revolving door. At one point, I had 22 students.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was my second little sandwich thing. Yeah, because I would do that at night.
Good.
Yeah, so I've always played. I mean, I set it down a little while in college just to kind of get through college, but I did weddings. You know, I did all my friends' weddings, and I still do weddings and that kind of stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I have a partner that we perform with. We just did a concert with the St. Cecilia Youth Orchestra, which was super exciting for us to be accompanied by an orchestra. We had never had that experience, so that was super fun. A little nerve-wracking standing up there, but it's yeah,
but that's so
fun.
great that you find time to run UCR, to be not just an executive director that sits behind a desk, but someone that really is involved in the direct service piece as well. You know your clients, your students, you know their families. I mean, you really make an effort to get to know your community and be part of it.
Yeah, that's the best part of my job.
And that's wonderful. And that was one of our questions: is what is?
Yeah, what is,
well,
what is it?
I'm not a sit behind a desk person. So what I have to do behind the desk, I do fast.
Right. Okay. I had to do fast.
I wrote news for 10 years. I can type fast. So I like to get that all on the side. And then, but yeah, I mean, my favorite part is brainstorming with parents and making programs that can meet the needs. You know, I've been spending a lot of time on the phone, and people call all the time and call all the time. I want people to call and ask questions, because that means that there's a hole somewhere, that some need is not being met, and that's what we are. You know, we're gap fillers, and we will create some way to help that family. So that's my favorite part, and just trying to think outside the box and give parents other ideas, because I have a lot of behavior experience from ABA and from my son.
Right.
So just trying to brainstorm. Even I get parents with little kids even calling sometimes. So that's the coolest. I mean, I love it, and I love some of my guys that call me up. I have one who calls me 3 times right in a row, and I answer every time. Like, hey.
What's so great, you bring all your stories together to create a new chapter. I mean, and that's just such an amazing thing, and so inspiring, I think, to us. Jen, just very quickly before we wrap up, if someone's watching and they really want to take a UCR class and they've never taken it before, what advice would you have for them?
Just really pay attention to what your skill level is, and what, you know, we don't say no to anybody. Financial need or whatever, come, and we don't lock anybody out for that problem. We just want to really be sure we have folks in the right program to have their needs met, and all the descriptions are right on the website, and everything is listed there for every single program. But don't be afraid. We are a very welcoming community. You know, we've grown, and we have a lot of really, really cool families. We're the cool people.
You are cool.
So you're very cool.
Thank you. And we're so glad that you came and brought your coolness to our show and made us more cool. Although you were really cool anyway. Definitely raised my cool. Jen, can you repeat that website for us again?
Yeah, the website is UCResrources.org.
Yep. Okay, excellent. Well, that is all the time we have today on Telling Your Story with Terrell and Nick. Thank you so much, Jen, for joining us. I think that you're just a Montgomery County woman who is working so hard to do so many wonderful things for so many people. Nice. You really inspire us and remind us that one person does make a difference. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's it. You do such a good job for the county. And please do some more after this.
Will you come to our programs, okay, and bring all your friends?
Okay.
Yes, I will.
Promise?
I promise.
Okay. All right.
Excellent.
So we've had a great time with Jen Lynn from Up County Community Resources today. Don't forget to check them out on the web. And make sure you go on Facebook and check out some amazing YouTube videos. And you can find them in their website. And remember, wherever you are in your life, always remember,
keep moving forward.
Cheers.
Cheers.